And an opportunity in about a half hour to pick up a DVD at the merchandise tent. They're only $15. You get a gorgeous view of the race from our camera positions, and those DVDs are available at the merchandise tent. And the race that you just saw will be available, as all of them are, about a half hour after the race is finished. Only $15. Looking down at the start line for the Women's Collegiate Varsity Petite Final. This is the general category of the race that we're going to be seeing. And right now we have 7 crews listed. And Jim Jorgensen will bring us up to date on what's happening at the starting line.
Down at the starting line, this is event number 79, Women's Collegiate Varsity Petite Final. Lane assignments: Lane 1, Sacramento State. Lane 2, Kansas State University.
2 minutes.
Lane 3, Old Dominion University. Lane 4, St. Joseph's University. Lane 5, San Diego State. In Lane 6, Southern Methodist University. Lane 7, Villanova. Absolutely calm conditions down here. The flags are hanging limp as I look down the course. It's just a question of when that westerly clocks and shows its face. All crews locked into their stake boats. We have about a minute to go until we have the start of this race. I'm currently sitting outside lane 7 looking down, and I can see the aligner has their placard up, which means the bows are perfectly aligned. They have a range mark that they look down. They put up a green rectangle which alerts the starter that the boats are aligned. What the liner will do next is pull the crews from lane 1 out to lane 7. And then give the commands.
California State
Are you
University.
ready? Go. Here we go.
Kansas State University. Old Dominion University. St. Joseph's University. San Diego State University. Southern Methodist University. Villanova. Attention. Go.
There's the start. Event number 79, Women's Collegiate Varsity 8 Petite Final. Very exciting to watch these crews explode off the stake boats. High cadence, getting their boats up to hull speed and then shifting down for the race pace so they can survive that 2,000-meter course. As things settle down here a little bit, competition is coming out of lane 3. Big blue crew from Old Dominion, your race leader. The second position hard to call between Sacramento State in lane 1 and then Kansas State in lane 2. St. Joseph's isn't out of it. Over here in lane 4. As we move out a little bit further, out in lane 5, San Diego State is battling Villanova for those 6th and 7th position. Very close racing. Overlap from the first crew to the last crew. Equal conditions as we approach the 500-meter mark. Your race leader currently rowing in that blue, or the big blue crew from Old Dominion in lane 3. With a slight advantage of the crews inside of them, Sacramento State in lane 1 and Kansas State in lane 2. very great boat racing. Nobody's really out of this race. Crew now over here in lane 6, Southern Methodist making a move and pushing the leader, and they actually could have the lead right now. So at 600 meters, it appears that Southern Methodist in lane 6 has a slight advantage over the inside crews.
Event number 79, this is the Women's Collegiate Varsity Petite Final, and very hotly contested, at least early going here. Lane assignments quickly. Sacramento State is in lane 1, Kansas State in lane 2. Old Dominion on the early lead is in lane number 3. St. Joseph's in lane 4, San Diego State University in lane 5. Southern Methodist, reportedly moving into the lead right now, is in lane 6. And all the way on the outside is Villanova.
So this is the second level final in this event, the Petite Final. These are crews that finished in 4th, 5th and 6th positions in their heat. And at this point we have a slight turn up for the books with Southern Methodist University competing very strongly in lane 6. Based on the heat times yesterday, one would expect Sacramento State in lane 1 to be challenging up there, as you would expect Kansas State and Old Dominion and St. Joseph's, who all broke 7 minutes yesterday. And then San Diego State, who did a 7-minute dead. Southern Methodist was 7:04, and Villanova were a bit off the pace at 7:17. But we have Southern Methodist giving the lie to those times yesterday by challenging hard at the front of this race. But as we come past the 1,000-meter mark, it is Sacramento State in lane 1 who are right up there. Kansas State seem to have fallen back just a little bit. There's a challenge coming from Old Dominion in lane 3, who are our early leader. And then it's back a little bit to St. Joseph's and San Diego State, with a challenge coming from Southern Methodist on the outside.
Charles, you might just comment a little bit about some sandbagging that might go on in the preliminary races. We never know whether it goes on or not, but comment about what a coach's standpoint and a rower's standpoint might be on that.
I don't think there are many coaches who are going to actually sandbag a heat, certainly at this regatta. There's too many uncertainties to be able to do that. They're basically going to want their crew to go out and race as fast as they can, put down the best benchmark time that they can, and get into the grand final rather than the petite final. But where the crews are drawn in the lanes and how the weather conditions are for the heat may affect how they finished in the heat, and they may actually be a faster crew than that, and that's what we may be seeing to a little extent today with Southern Methodist. But at the moment, as they come into the final 500 or towards the final 500, we have the crew in lane 1, which is Sacramento State, who are certainly the form crew from yesterday, doing a 6:50, seem to have established their lead at the front of the field.
Sacramento State in lane number 1 on the lead right now, and they're having to look outside to Old Dominion. Old Dominion had the early lead. Old Dominion has St. Joseph's on their outside shoulder, and then they need to look all the way outside to the crew with from Southern Methodist. So those crews are the ones that are going to be taking a final run here. Out of the 7 that we have, 4 of them are in the hunt. The only ones that may be dropping back a little bit would be Kansas State in lane number 2, and then out in lane number 5, San Diego State University and Villanova on the outside. Those 3 crews are trying to make up open water, but Sacramento State is kicking up the rhythm here. Old Dominion is trying to stay with them, and then to the outside it is St. Joseph's, and Southern Methodist is fading just a little bit. Along the shoreline, it is Sacramento State and Old Dominion, and they look like they're going to have a shootout as they run down here, because the 2 of them are beginning to open up some area over St. Joseph's and Southern Methodist.
Yes, it looks like St. Joseph's may have the measure of Southern Methodist for 3rd place, but Old Dominion, who were back on Sacramento State, seem to have come back at them, and Sacramento State were looking a little one-paced in the final 500, but they've just kicked it up as they get within a smell of the finish line, and we'll see what happens as these 2 crews come down. It's going to be really tight.
Old Dominion with about a 3-seat lead, but Sacramento State is cranking it. Sacramento State along the shoreline trying to pass Old Dominion. The two of them have some open water back to St. Joseph's and then all the way back to Southern Methodist. It's going to be along the shoreline, Sacramento State in Old Dominion. Sacramento State in Old Dominion. Sacramento State along the shoreline, clinging to the lead, and it is Sac State apparently going to be the winner. They beat off Old Dominion by about 1 seat, and then driving through is St. Joseph's, followed by our early race leader, Southern Methodist. An exciting finish. Checking it over again, and the screen side, the far side crew will be Sacramento State closest to the shore, and you can see they just barely got a nose in front of Old Dominion for an exciting finish to our women's collegiate varsity petite final. Another exciting San Diego Crew Classic finish, and if you would like to have a DVD